Hey, it's Dustin with the Davidson Group here with episode 9 of Real Talk. This week we're going to discuss a topic that has come up several times over the past few weeks, and I just wanted to clear the air, talk about what it is, and really what that looks like here in the state of Missouri. So the topic is around closing and the transition or transferring from one property to another. So I've heard it from people in the office. I've heard it from some of my clients and dealing through a couple of issues, and there's confusion around when possession changes. This is something that in the state of Missouri, unless explicitly discussed or explicitly changed, possession changes at closing. So if you are a buyer and you are purchasing a piece of property, you obtain possession when you sign on the dotted line. The seller comes right after you, signs on the dotted line. You have a fully executed contract, everything signed, money is transferred, possession at that moment becomes yours. On the same token, as a seller, this is, I think, where the misconception comes into play. As a seller, there are people who believe that you have an X amount of time. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month of time after closing to move and get transitioned from one property to the next. This is not the case. So conversations I have are always around possession at closing. I'm now realizing from those conversations that whenever I say possession at closing, I need to be clear and state that you are no longer in this house and you now have access to this house at closing. And so planning everything around that. The closing date is something that's set at the very beginning. When you're a buyer and you offer on a piece of property, you write out in that contract, or what will be the contract, you write out a closing date. As long as that's accepted, and unless there's a counter offer that changes that, that's your closing date. And that closing date, there will be a time that's set. That time is when possession takes place. Whether you gain possession or lose possession, it's at that time frame. And so that is something I wanted to talk about, again, through conversations with agents, conversations with my clients. It's come up quite a bit. And so making sure I'm packed, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to move in, utilities are turned on, utilities are turned off, we've made arrangements to do the things necessary in order to leave this property and take over this property, or whatever that looks like for you, to ensure a smoother transition. The last thing that you want to do is at last minute rush around, try to get everything taken care of. Funny story, when my wife and I bought our first house, we knew that we were going to be able to move. We closed on a Friday. A lot of closings actually happen on Friday. I don't know if it's something that happens with purpose or reasoning behind that. I'm not going to go into that rabbit hole today, but on our first closing, we closed on a Friday afternoon. We started moving in. Didn't think anything about it, right? It wasn't a thought in our mind, and our agent at the time didn't mention anything, I'm sure because he thought that, hey, we should know this. But we didn't call and have utilities transferred into our name. So it was 4:50 on a Friday afternoon. We called the utility company. We had to do a couple of things in order to get everything turned on, and we actually didn't get a call back into them until like 5:02, 5:03. Well, they didn't wait around on us. So the first weekend of our home, we actually enjoyed it with no power. We got to move in, we got to set everything in place. We actually got to take warm showers for the first night, which was nice. But then after that, the hot water became cool water or room temperature water. And we lived by candles at night, and it was a fun experience for the first weekend of living in our new home. Something I'll never forget. I'll never forget that piece of it. And so relaying those things to your clients to make sure that they know and understand what you're talking about. I should not say things like possession at closing. I should say, hey, at closing you're going to have to be out of your house, and you're going to be able to move into your new house. Or at closing you're going to be able to transition over, make sure you have utilities on, and make sure everything is set in place for you. Those things are important so that we can ensure smooth transition and finalize that process in a good high note. Anyways, Real Talk episode 9, just daily things that happen here with me, and bringing and shedding some light on you. Hey, you know what I would love is if you're watching and have an experience similar to this, or something that you'd like to share, drop a comment or just send me a message. I'd love to converse about that and just see where that takes us. Hope you're doing well. Until next week, I will see you around and see you again. Have a good day.